turn me on.
You do it every morning.
Okay, we are live. Kelly, are you going to check to make sure all is...
I'm going to check. I'm just going to go do that.
Thank you.
I got to get my phone.
Thank you. It's Wednesday. And look at who's here.
Good morning.
We have Maggie with us today, and you guys are in for a treat because we know when Maggie is here that we have beautiful mixed media, inky, messy techniques to learn.
I have to scrub my fingernails every night before this.
Because Maggie's always working on something. You're so good about
Always
that. You're
mess.
always working on something amazing. Okay. Well,
Wanna
Kelly,
show
let's start here.
All right. Hi, Dawn. I got my phone here. I'm going to see if we're live, but I don't see anything right now. Oh, yeah, we are live. Okay.
All right. Good morning.
All right.
Oh, Robin says it's hump day. Happy hump day. It's Wednesday.
Wednesday. Hey, check this out, everybody. If you haven't seen it, this is the new color that was just announced from Tim Holtz. And Dawn, I love it.
It's a great color.
It's a great pink. I was predicting purple, but we got pink, and I'm very happy with it. And it's called Kitsch Flamingo.
I don't think anybody guessed pink when we were guessing.
No.
With
nobody
customers
guessed-
or
nobody
staff,
guessed
I
pink.
don't think anybody guessed pink.
Had a lot of yellow and purple.
Or green, I think.
There was some
Or
green.
no,
Not
not green. Blue. I think other people said blue.
So this is coming. It's
Yes.
coming.
All
so
right.
if you want it and you haven't told us that you want it, let us know and we'll reserve some for you. It's very hard to get Ranger products these days. And in fact, they were closed down due to the nor'easter? Is that how they pronounce it over
Yeah. So I think our shipment of this is going to
Probably
be
a little delayed.
off a couple days, but Carol says we shipped her package yesterday and she already has it this morning.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That you live in the right place because my mail doesn't come until
Well, kudos
late.
to Diane, because Diane does all of our shipping, and to Dennis, Dawn's husband, because he takes all our packages to the
Post office, yes. He comes and picks them all
He's
up
our
and takes.
shipper.
Yes.
And that kitsch pink kind of goes with what we're doing today.
It does. It does, Maggie. Look.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get started, Maggie. We have many customers signed on. Many crafty crafters are waiting.
Okay. What we're going to do today is, this is the first day that you can get this kit. So what I like to do when we put out a kit is to kind of show you a few of the harder things, the things that might make you say, oh, I can't do that. So today I'm going to show you mainly how to do this background. The background is our main thing, and then I'm going to show you a couple other things that might be a little bit questionable as far as how to do it.
Might be a little. People might be a little
Afraid to try it. Yeah.
But look at the texture. Oh my gosh!
So
when
this
Maggie
is-
created this. We all were going crazy over this texture.
This is a 9x12 canvas, and we even finished off the back, so it makes a nice finish on the back. We added a Tim Holtz knob on there. I still think that something hanging from this knob might be kind of fun, but that could be something you could add.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to show, first of all, is the kit. The kit is $28.99, and I'm going to show you what you get in your kit. First of all, you get a photo with directions,
Okay.
and the directions are back here, step by step, sorry. And then you get your 9x12 canvas. This is a stretched canvas, so it's a really nice one. I like stretch canvases because then you can do the sides.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then in the kit you also get this piece of cardstock 9x12, which is going to be our background, which I'll show you. And then you get this piece, which is your back. And then you get a piece of wood.
A piece of wood paper.
Yes. And then these two pieces were from another ephemera kit. And so Dawn printed on this piece of paper. So that's kind of exclusive to Memory Bound.
Well, yes, it is.
And so you get those two pieces. And then you get this piece, which was just a green pattern paper that I die cut mixed media piece out of. This is the die that I used for that. You get like 4 different ones, but I chose this one right here. And then you get a tag that's been pre-printed. I just used a background stamp that was kind of scripty. And I used, this is Tim Holtz faded type. And I used just an archival ink on that because I wanted it permanent.
Okay.
And then you get a piece of corrugated cardboard, 9 inches by a little over an inch. And I have to thank Alice. Alice donated some of this, and so it was just laying on the table.
Thank
and
you, Alice.
Yes, she brought me a whole roll, and so
Wow.
I didn't have to peel it all off. So that was nice.
That is very nice.
And then you get a little package of, we call them losables. So be careful when you're emptying this out. But you get your twine. You get 3 cream buttons, and some of them might even be the old antique ones.
Real antique
Yes.
ones, because Maggie digs into her button jar at home.
And then you get a little paper clip from Tim Holtz. And then you also get a knob. Now, there's 3 different kinds of knobs in a package, so yours might not be the same as this one.
Might look like
For example, yours might look like this.
That.
And what you do is you take out the screw in there, and that's what is used on the tag over there. Can you show them an up-close picture of the tag?
So she takes the screw out of the bottom of the knob.
Like that, and it
Yep.
comes out.
Yep.
And then you glue the knob on top, but then you use the little screw to put in the...
So you hot glue the knob, and you take your screw and you put it in the end of your tag. Wow, Maggie.
Yeah, adds a little bit of metal.
Using everything.
Yeah, and then you will also get a ticket. And I made these tickets out of this... Can you show them that die or that stamp set right there, and the die? Tim Holtz, it's called Ticket Booth, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different stamps, and they're all different. Some have little indentations. Well, they don't show up on here, but what you do is you stamp, and then you use his die set. And the die actually cuts out those little tiny perforations, and there's even one that you can cut it out so you can tear it off. There's that one too, and some of them have that. So I used his set to make the ticket, because I always like to add a ticket.
So everybody's kit has the ticket already in it. Maggie
Already
did all the work
pre-stamped.
for you.
And their tag is already pre-stamped. So yeah, all the work is ready for you.
Wow, Maggie, way to go. Nice kits.
Okay, so I'm just going to share with you a few things that might be troublesome for you, or you might think they're troublesome. But what I did was I took the 9 by 12 canvas, and I put matte medium onto the canvas, and that is multi-medium matte. And you can get it in a couple different sizes, or actually about 3 different sizes. But I would suggest if you're going to do big projects like this, just go ahead and get this size.
This size is $4.99. The smaller size is $2.79.
That little tiny size would probably not be enough for this project.
Okay. And the larger size is $6.99. You might as well just get the bigger one, because once you see all these mixed media projects, and it's good for putting. It's a great adhesive to put paper onto something else.
I use it for everything. You can use it as a glue. You can use it as a sealer. What I like to do is when I'm putting it on, and I put this on because I wanted to have it dry and just for camera time. But what you do is you just take, and here's a brush. Use a big brush. If you use a tiny little brush, by the time you get done covering your whole canvas, this is going to be dry. And it won't stick, and you're going to end up with air bubbles. So you want to get that matte medium on there very quickly. So these are the Tim Holtz brushes, and I have some varieties over there. This is the only one I have, but can you see that 3-piece variety pack? That's a nice set. But what you want to do is, I'm just going to show you on here how thick you want it. When people have taken classes, they...
Give me a second here.
Sure.
I'm just showing them the collage brushes. Okay. All right.
When people have taken classes and we are putting the paper down onto the canvas, sometimes they will put it on and they'll go like this and like this and like this, and pretty soon it's so dry that nothing will stick and they get a lot of air bubbles. So you want to get it on there quickly, which is why you want this nice big brush. And I'm going to show you how thick you want to put it on. You want to be able to see, not globs, but you want to be able to see it. Can you see the difference between? That's going to stay wet long enough for you to be able to get your paper on.
In my instructions, I say, because I like mixed media too, I say put a nice layer. So
yeah, it's kind of
I
like
don't know
putting
what-
butter on bread.
Right. I don't know what the definition of that is, but that was a great visual.
Sometimes that's the only way I can show them, is it's got to be kind of thick, kind of like when you're buttering your bread. You want to keep this wet though, or you don't want to let it dry out on there. So that's what I did, was I glued that down. I dried it. You can either let it air dry or dry it with your heat tool. And then I did the same thing with this piece of wood. I used a paper distressing tool, which is this, and you just distress the edges of your paper, and I'll show you. I'm going to do it on the tag anyway. And all these little things have little blades in there, and so you just go like that, and you can get quite aggressive with it. And Dawn does not like this sound.
It's killing me right now, Maggie. You're killing
I'm
me.
going to keep doing it, Dawn.
No, I can't even look. It just bothers me so bad.
And the thing that this does is it opens up the fibers, and so when you go to ink it, first of all, it looks cool, and when you go to ink it, it soaks up the ink much better. Now, if you don't have one of these and you're in a pinch, you can use the edge of your scissors like this. Takes a little bit more labor, but you can do it with the edge of your scissors too. Okay, so now I've got my first layer down. I've got this, and there's a reason why I put this down first, is because I didn't want my whole background just to be in the background. I wanted it to spill over into some of the things in the front. So once I've got that laid down, just because of camera time, I went ahead and sanded around, and 2 reasons. It takes off the excess paper, and somebody described this as it marries the paper to the canvas. So it looks like it all belongs. So I left one side not done, and I'm going to show you. Can you see how that paper, it just doesn't look like it's part of the canvas? Right. And here we might want to glue that down a little bit better. But then all I do is just take my sanding tool, and you sand away from the canvas and right along that edge. And can you see how that paper's falling off? So you don't have to worry about if your paper's not quite the perfect size. And it doesn't take too long. These sanding tools are by Foundations Decor, and they're the perfect sanding tool for this. So you just kind of keep doing it like that, so that all of the excess paper comes off. And then once all that paper is off, I like to go across like this and really distress that. And so now your paper is married to your canvas. It looks like, and then what I do is I go across the corners so it looks.
Because you want them to look like they've been rubbed.
Yeah.
Worn in a box, like it's something you
like I love
pulled
the
out
look
a
of that
box.
corner
Yes,
right there.
I agree.
And this, so it doesn't hurt to, if you're doing this and all of a sudden you tear a piece, great, just embrace it.
Yep, that's happened.
Yes, and sometimes,
Because I don't have the patience to wait till it dries.
yeah,
then
sometimes I'll go across here like this.
Maybe you need a mini vac.
Yeah,
Oh, she does.
it's always all over my floor, like that. And so you get a really cool look, and sometimes I leave it like that.
Oh my gosh, Beth has the sanding tool and didn't know what it was till now.
Oh, that's funny.
I love it. Get your stuff out of your boxes and start using it. I
And
just love that.
I forgot to tell you that the first thing I did was paint the edges.
Okay.
And I used Dilutions paint. This one is, desert sand. You could use any brown.
Okay.
And so I just quick painted, and so to even get a even more distressed look, use your sanding tool to do this,
$2.99. Okay.
and see how much better that looks. This looks too new, so just sand across there a little bit, like that. So now you have your.
Do you want me to get something?
No, it's fine. Now you have your canvas ready. Sorry, I couldn't come up with the word canvas. Now this is the part that I think that I wanted to share with you. I have a palette knife. Any palette knife would work. And you're going to use texture paste matte. We're going to actually use two different texture pastes. One is the matte, one is the crackle. We're going to start with the matte. And so the matte one looks like that. It's kind of a fun texture. And we're going to use, on this project, I used the mosaic stencil. You do not have to use that one. If you have one that you like better, you can use it. We do have one in stock today, and you said that they're all coming this afternoon.
We've got a shipping notice that our mosaic stencils should arrive today. So if the weather holds out, they will be here today, and we have lots. So no, because I absolutely love this stencil after Maggie created with it. So we thought you guys would too, but they are coming.
Yeah. So this is one. I pulled about 4 different ones that I thought would be kind of cool for the background. You want something that you can randomly put places. Even those words would be cool in the background.
And you can find all of our stencils on our online store under Tools and Stencils. And Mary, we would be happy. Mary wants to take pictures of some of the things that she bought, and then she's going to ask us what they're for when she comes in.
Oh, funny.
That would be great.
Mary,
Okay.
I absolutely love you, and you are she's just hilarious.
Yeah,
she's
she's
so
fun.
funny.
I thought I was reading some of the comments from Maker Mania, and some of the people had questions as to, I go into a craft store and I don't know what any of this stuff is for. How do I find out? And I thought there were quite a few comments from people saying nice things about the stores and the staff being so helpful if you don't
that's
know.
sweet.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, absolutely. If you're ever at Memory Bound and you have questions, that's what we thrive on, is answering your questions and giving you ideas on how to use something and different ways to work with a product.
We might not always be right, but we'll try.
Ask Diane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if it's mixed media related, we'll ask Maggie.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I did is I'm taking some of this matte texture paste, and I'm going to, I think in the directions I say a
Okay,
tablespoon.
before you go, would you use pixie spray on your stencil?
Not probably on this because I'm just doing it so randomly and I'm moving it around. Probably not.
Yep.
You could if you were worried about it moving, but the texture paste kind of glues it down pretty quickly.
Right.
Okay, so in the directions, I think I said a tablespoon or 2. So we're going to take a glob out like that. And you want to keep it closed because it does dry out. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my Distress ink, and I'm using gathered twigs.
This
Gathered
is one of my
twigs.
favorite techniques, Maggie. I love
Oh,
it.
fun. Gathered twigs is what I would use, but you know what? If you have any brown, it's just going to give you a different shade. So any brown will do. So now I'm going to drag that texture paste into
Making
the ink.
chocolate frosting.
Yes. And you want to get it, and the reason is you just don't want it to, on this project, I didn't want it white. Not that you can't ink it afterwards, but it's pretty white. So I always say kind of a light caramel color. Is that what it looks like?
It looks yummy, actually.
Yeah, and
I'm
sometimes
hungry.
sometimes I don't always even mix it perfect because I kind of like the variegation of it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so working on the back of your palette knife, not the top. A lot of people scoop it in and they have it on the top. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, we don't want it to look like you did this perfectly straight line. And you don't want to end up, you never want to go against this line because
Yes.
it just doesn't look
Right.
right. So what I do is I kind of slant it, and I'm just going to, you just kind of lay it on there like you're doing frosting, and then start scraping it off. And I don't worry about getting it in every single hole, because that's why you don't want to go up against this straight edge, because if you do, then it looks artificial.
You're going to have a straight edge.
Yeah.
And yeah, you don't
So
want
as
that.
you can see, we just kind of scrape it off. Come down here. And as you can see, I am going over across that brown piece of paper because I want to, again, marry that part of the project in with the outside edge. Okay, so we'll just go and I'll come in here a little bit more like that. You don't want to do the whole thing. You don't want to frame it because there again gets a little artificial looking. Okay, so once it's scraped off, if
You know what? That's hard because you have so much fun when you're starting this and you just want to keep going, but that's a good lesson.
yeah, and if you cannot see the pattern of your stencil, you've got too much on. So really, it doesn't hurt to just scrape it off. Okay, then lift it up. Look at that. Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
And then I just go along there like that and get those edges off. Now, something I didn't do on my original one, which looking back, I think I would do that, is I would go and maybe do a little bit randomly around the edges. Not cover the whole thing, but just make it look like it came down. And in fact,
and some of it chipped off.
yeah, I'll show you one piece here. Let's just do it right here. Just like that. Just so it looks like it's not perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah,
God, I
so
love it.
okay, so then you're going to just move around.
I think you're going to have some mixed media converts after this project, Maggie, because it's just so cool. You're getting lots of hearts.
Love this. This is one of my favorite things to do, and I don't think there's any wrong stencil. Any stencil would work. I like the kind of organic ones, but like that. But again, I think where most people have a problem is they don't scrape enough of it off. They leave it big chunks like that, and you don't want to do that. You want to be able to, when you scrape it, you want to be able to see the pattern of your stencil. And sometimes it's okay to leave, you know, like if you do this and you have it a little bit thicker in some places, that's okay. It doesn't have to be scraped off perfect either. But see, again, we're not hitting every hole. That gives it a little bit more organic look.
Okay, Angie, who just signed on, what she did first is, while she's gathering some more of her texture paste, she put paper down with multi-medium matte and let that dry, sanded the edges of her canvas, and she mixed a little bit of her opaque matte texture paste with some distress ink to get it a little bit colored. And then now that's what she's putting on her canvas.
And I'm going to show that process one more time because I need a little bit more. And here again, it doesn't matter if it's a little darker. It doesn't have to be perfect. Can you see that variegation look? Sometimes I'll just stop there and start putting it on.
For those of you just signing on, Maggie's making chocolate frosting.
We're going to have cupcakes.
We're going to have cupcakes.
And there again, like I said, I like to do it randomly so it's not perfect.
Right. Oh my gosh, it's so cool already. And for those of you just signing on, this is the project that it's a kit that Maggie put together, and this is the finished project, and she's showing us how to do this technique around the edge. So she's using the opaque matte texture paste right now, and then she goes over it again with the crackle texture paste to get that really cool vintage shabby look. I just love it.
Okay, so the more that you do random, I think you will like it better than if you fill in all the spaces. I just kind of like that random look.
It looks amazing.
So with this texture paste, and I forgot my heat tool, but that's okay because we'll just let it air dry. You can use a heat tool to dry this. The one thing you want to make sure is if this were my heat tool, I want to keep it 3 or 4 inches away and keep it moving like this.
Because you can bubble it.
Yeah, or smoke will come up. We had a lady in a class that daydreamed, and she was like this, and I looked over and she had brown smoke. So you have to keep that heat tool.
You don't want smoke in a paper store.
And so, yeah, just add a little bit around the edges every so often, like this, to kind of give it some fun texture. So we're going to let this dry. And there's one more step that I did with that. But while we're waiting for that to dry, I'm going to show you the other parts of the...
Okay, can I just jump in here real quickly?
Yes.
They're asking, how do you clean your stencil?
I am going to ask Paula right now. Paula, can I have you just run that underwater and also with this? Because if you don't, it will be on there permanently.
It's very important to get the texture paste off of your stencil.
When I'm teaching a class, sometimes I'll have just a little plastic shoebox full of water and just drop them in. That way they stay wet until you're ready to deal with them. Okay.
To dry it with the heat tool?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, can you go over what is in the kit again? How about if we do that at the end of the video?
Sure.
Or we could do that now while Van is drying your canvas.
Okay, in the kit, you get the directions with a photo. There's
colored
the photo. There's the directions. It also tells you everything that you will need to have on hand to complete it. And also you get a 9x12 canvas. This is a stretched canvas, so it's probably about a 3/4 of an inch thick. Looks like that on the back, which is nice for when you're flattening. You can come in from the back too. But that's your 9x12 canvas. You get this piece of paper, which is the background. And anytime you can add a little bit of texture rather than just a plain background, not only do we have a plain background, but we have a little bit of flowers in the back. We've got
This is
script.
one of our favorite papers right now.
And so it kind of gives you the art behind the art.
Oh,
it draws
I like
you
that,
in.
Maggie. That's neat.
It draws you in a little closer and like, okay, you don't see a lot on here, but it's like, oh, what's under there? There's some script writing too. So it gives you those layers. Okay, so then you also get the 9x12 backing, which is what I put on the back of the canvas. Can you show them the back of that? It finishes it off. You don't have to do it.
Canvas is finished.
And that's where you can sign it and date it.
Yes.
You get a piece of wood patterned paper. You get these 2 pieces. These are were from an ephemera set. And then Dawn printed this. And so you get these 2 pieces. You get this mixed media piece of green pattern paper that was cut using one of Tim Holt's mixed media die.
The background paper is Bo Bunny.
Yes. You get a piece of corrugated cardboard that's been peeled off already. We're going to show how to do that. You get, thank you. Yeah. You get a tag that's already been pre-stamped. I used Tim Holtz's, it's called Faded Type, and this is the piece I used. And so I just used some archival brown ink and just stamped it. There again, you get a little texture by adding that. You get a ticket, which was made from Tim Holt's stamp set and die set. And he's got all sorts of tickets, so you can have a lot of fun making those.
And I'm just going to interject here that the 49 in Market products that we're absolutely loving right now, those ephemera kits. Oh my gosh, we're just going crazy. And I think you're going to see a project with it tomorrow. But anyway, in there is all these tickets. So if you like to make your own, this is what you need.
And those 49 in Market ephemera packs would be perfect for this. Thank you so much.
Right. You are
okay,
right.
you also get your twine. You get a piece of ribbon. You get one of Tim Holtz paper clips, like this. You get 3 cream buttons.
And some of them could be the original vintage.
Yeah. And do you know that the real vintage ones, you can tell the difference? If you put them up against your skin, and Katie and I discovered this.
Oh my gosh.
If you put it up against your skin, it will be very cold.
Oh.
Because they're made out of seashells.
Okay.
And they're not plastic.
And they don't conduct heat or what?
I don't know. But that's
my
how we discovered
gosh.
we could tell the difference between the cheap ones and the real ones. So some of you got some real ones because I was digging through my stuff and I collect these.
The kits are $28.99, and everything that Maggie's going through right now are in your
You
kit.
get a pre-stamped tag, and you get one of Tim Holtz's knobs. It comes in a package of 3. All 3 of them are different. So yours may or may not look like this one, or may not look like that one, and then there's another one. But the thing I wanted to show you is you take out, you can use a screwdriver for this. You take out the little screw at the bottom. You don't need it. And then you use it elsewhere on your project.
You use it right here on your tag, and then here's the paper clip that Maggie was talking about. Here's the ticket. And now she actually sewed on her project, but you could sew
Or use the stitched.
use the stitched stamp, use the stitched rub-ons. There's so many options now.
Okay, so this has been dried by Kelly. And this one, like I said, there's no 2 alike.
And do you think the color has deepened after it dried? On the-
This one, yes. Now I think that I may have made this a little darker, and that's okay.
Well, it's beautiful. I love
No
it.
2 are the same. So what I like to do is take a little bit of ink, and this is really pretty, but I'm going to show you how to add some shadowing and some depth to it. By going all in one direction, you want to, because your shadows are always going to be on one side, so you don't want to go like this, and you'll take away that look of the shadows. So what I do is I just come from one direction, and I don't put any pressure on this at all. And I just add that little bit of shadowing.
This is a new thing for me, Maggie. I just run in circles on mine.
Because your shadows are always going to be on one side. And so I
Good to
just
know.
go along, and you don't want to press down into it because you don't want to cover up your paper. You just want to catch the top parts. But see how that's picking up and doing a little shadowing? And you don't want to put any pressure at all. Just pick up some of that. And again, this is a little darker than my first one.
But I like it.
Okay, so see that? And then what you can do is go around. If you don't want that white look around, which sometimes I do, can you see how we're just adding? And then sometimes I cut the corners, and sometimes I do like this to make it so it's not so perfect on the sides. Just add little dabs like that, and then rub them out a little bit.
I didn't know you did that.
And then go all the way around, because that's what's going to kind of frame your work. And lots of times I will, which one's my top and which one's my bottom here? How's that? Okay, got it. All right. So sometimes if this is the bottom, I'll come up a little bit more on the bottom because it gives it a little bit of shadowy look. Like that. Okay, so now we have that. This is where, when I was doing this, I felt like this was just too strong, too much. So that's when I got out the Texture Paste Crackle. The difference between Texture Paste Matte and Texture Paste Crackle is the number one thing is you cannot heat dry this. This has to dry on its own. So keep that in mind. Never rush this, the crackle. And the crackle, as it dries, will form little cracks. Okay, so what I did is just use that finger. And I just went over it like this. And I just randomly did that and went into the wood, kind of did that.
And this you want to put on thick in spots because that's where you're going to get your most cracks, right?
Yes, it'll always crackle, but if I do this really, really fine, you're barely going to see it. That's why, can you see how I'm just kind of putting it on thicker in some spots? But I felt like this toned down that I know, Dawn, when I first showed it to you, you kind of liked the looks of it.
I did. I really liked the background.
I like how this just tones it down. It's just not so strong.
So let's see. I'm showing them the canvas up close.
Can they see the crackles?
Yes, you can really see the crackles. So
Okay.
Maggie, like this right here, this white right there, is that paint? Or
That's this right here.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
And that's why I put it on there kind of like that.
So it does tone it down. Oh yes, I can see here where that is the crackle right there.
And sometimes you can put it thicker up in the corners and along the edges because then that's where those big old thick cracks will. So just don't be afraid to put it on there. But I like this look better. I felt like that other stuff was just too strong.
Too much, okay.
Okay, so again, do not heat set this. It has to dry on its own, and hopefully by the end of this little
Your presentation.
presentation, you'll start to see a little bit of it. So I'm going to set this aside. And that's basically your canvas ready. I'm just going to show you a couple more things. This is that corrugated cardboard. I was lucky enough that Alice gave me this already prepared like this, and I just cut it up. But I ran out, so there are a few kits that I actually had to cut a piece of corrugated cardboard and tear it off. You tear off the top layer.
Is the crackle in the kit? It is not. You need to, that would be supplies that you need to purchase to finish the project. And can you add color to crackle?
Yes, and once this dries, we will go in and add ink. Now, Paula Cheney likes to add crayon.
Crayons.
She pushes crayon into it. And so after this dries, then I'll go in with a little bit of ink. As far as can you pre-color it, I don't see why not. I don't know why we couldn't have done the same thing we just did.
Okay.
I would try it. The thing I like about putting it on white is that when you go over it in ink, it goes down into the cracks, and so it gives you a kind of a two-tone thing. So you are going to get this piece in here, and basically all you're going to have to do is go over it with some ink like that. Pick up those, not the valleys, but the top part like that. And then I kind of go in like this randomly to get this look. Now this is really kind of a cool way to add texture to your project, but I'm going to show you what even makes it better. We're going to take a little bit of matte medium, and again you're going to just take that and rub that on right on it, and you're going to see it's going to take that ink and react it, and so it's going to give you a leather look just by adding that matte medium and getting down inside there. See how much richer that looks?
Absolutely.
Looks like a piece of leather. And you can do this with stained wood that you inked.
Yes, she did use the multimedia mat to glue the paper to the canvas, and that's, do you want to just show them that bottle
Yes,
right
that's what this is. And you use a nice thick paintbrush and you put it on there pretty thick. I don't mean thick in globs, but like buttering bread.
there? Okay.
Okay. Oh, Paula did such a nice job cleaning my stencil. That was nice. Okay, so this you will just dry, and that's the thing that will go on here and gets glued on there with matte medium. I just wanted to share with you how to do that.
And here it is again, what that looks like. It just is so neat. It's just a really good layer.
The other part that I wanted to share with you was this is the ephemera that we used. And what I did was I took scissors and keeping that same little border of cream, I cut down into them because it was pretty flat and we wanted it to have a little bit more dimension. So we cut down. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So I left, and what I thought was kind of cool was this ephemera also has that script writing, so it almost goes with that paper that we're using. It's almost like it came with it. Okay, so once I cut that down, then I just did this, and I know that it's hard for you to do that.
And Michelle says she's almost convinced to try this multimedia project. And I'm not one to like to use my fingers and all that gooey stuff. And I do like mixed media, but I will use a foam brush. So if you're apprehensive about using your fingers and getting really icky, you can use foam brushes, work great. Or those collage brushes like Maggie showed, work great.
Okay, so I'm just going to go around the edges, and as you saw, once I flattened this, I kind of went across just to catch some of the crinkles, and then I'm just going to go around and catch the edges of the leaves that I cut apart, and see how quickly you don't have to spend a lot of time, and sometimes it's okay if you don't catch it all.
I wished we had one of those blank, because you don't know what you don't know until you do it. Yeah, like those. Because look at the difference. Now, like you could just put this on your canvas and go, "Oh yeah, well that looks nice." But look at that. It just looks like it was all meant to be. So that's what I'm saying, that you can do this, but take the extra minute to do that. It just, I don't know, Maggie, I just love it.
It just adds dimension. And then what I did is I creased these leaves lengthwise like that, again to give them some dimension.
Oh, it reminds me of the time I let my son paint with pudding on the fridge. Oh, that's
I bet
a good
he
mom.
loved it.
Yeah, that's a good mom. I don't think I could do that. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so now I have my flower or my leaves. Again, see how much more dimension that has? And then when you go to glue this down, I turn it over and I see like there's a high spot and there's a high spot and maybe there's a high spot. That's where I would put my my foam pop dots. That's all you would need, because then that way that leaves the rest of it hanging free.
And so it looks like it's popped on.
I just used foam pop dots, and again, just turn it over, find your 3 high spots and put one there, and then that way you're not gluing those leaves down. The flowers look like they're kind of hanging free. So that's how you do the flowers. Here is the piece of green paper that I used for the tattered edge along the edge there. And then basically what I did is I didn't like it looking quite so perfect, so I just cut out some of these spots like this. And actually I started to cut them now that I think about it, and I finally just kind of tore it. And I didn't care about whether it was tearing in certain spots and certain spots were hanging up. and not hanging like that. So you want that look more. And then I just inked it, and you have to be careful not to over ink it because you do want that green to show. You don't want everything to be brown. But I just...
Maggie, who thinks of this? I would have just used it cut like it was. That's just genius.
It just gives it a little bit better, I don't know,
well,
just
it
more
looks
ragged
like
look.
it looks old, like you found
Yeah.
it in your grandma's
Yeah, it's
treasure
just
box.
tattered, a tattered lace.
That's
I'm
what
trying to
right
think.
here.
The other thing, thought I had a ticket here.
You did have a pink
Maybe
ticket.
I have 2 tickets in this kit. Oh, I have one. I can show this. On this, remember how I used the paper distressing tool? Just go around and ink that, and you could, and not sure I did, but I think you want to do this a little bit. Then when you go over it, see how I'm not putting any pressure on it at all? Hold it in your hand. It just picks up those wrinkles. And then I just don't like it perfect, so I tear
Of course
it.
you don't.
I tear it a little. But you want to, if you tear it, you want to get in there and get those brown. And see how much more character that has?
I love it. Character is a great term
Yeah.
for this.
The ticket is the same way. Just wad it up and ink it a little bit. Same thing to make it look old. I picked this one because it said Market Square.
Cute.
I thought that was kind of cool.
The die that Maggie used is this one, and it is called Mixed Media from Sizzix. Mixed Media. And if we do not have that in stock, we would certainly get that for you.
I found that one.
We have this one. We can certainly order it for you and would be happy to. Or maybe you have it in your stash. This one is called Pattern Repeat. And Darlene, you're absolutely right. She says, try it. The best part is there's no right or wrong because it's your
Absolutely not.
creation. That is so true.
And what's even cool about this is that you can just keep adding layers. You don't have to stop with mine. If you have something else you want to stick in there, you can. But look how rich this looks
Yeah.
compared to what it looked like before. Is there any crackles starting to form? Maybe we can come back and revisit it right before you guys are done. But what I did with this, when I put it up here, then I ran the string over, I guess it's this side. I ran the string over like 3 times, and it came up in between one of these cuts, and that's when I tied the bow.
Cool.
Does that help?
It helps a lot. And, okay, what I also wanted to say, if maybe you have your own favorite quote that you want to just type up and put on the canvas too, and have that quote on your counter and just a nice reminder. So I think this is a great launch for everybody to start making their own creations and your own little home decor pieces to put out on your counter. That's a reminder. Maybe of your favorite quote or something. I love this. Maggie, you are so talented. I really enjoy your demos.
Thank you. Well, don't be afraid to try some stuff, and don't be afraid to get messy. As you can see, this is going to be, this is it.
Or use a foam brush. Or use a paintbrush.
So once this starts to crackle, then you can kind of go over it a little bit. Can you see maybe some crackles starting?
Yes,
Like
absolutely. We can see
there's
those.
one right there. The thicker ones will start to show crackles. You might even notice more crackles tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
But like
absolutely.
what you can do then is you can add a little ink and see how that goes down into the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
You can add a little bit of that if you want.
Good.
I like this look, just like somebody smeared it with paint and it's old. But anyway, have fun with it, and I hope you enjoy, and I hope my directions are okay.
Thank you, Maggie. Great job. You'll find her kit under kits in our online store. They're $28.99, and this is okay. Wait a second there, Kelly. And then this is the final project, and Kelly has the kit. Beth says she used a plastic glove. There you go. That's a good idea
That
too.
works too.
You know what, though? I took an art class. Actually, it was a pottery class in college. And one of the guys that was in the class came to the class with plastic gloves, and the teacher wouldn't let him come in.
Oh my
He says, if you're going to wear gloves, you don't belong in my art class.
Oh, well, okay. Okay. Well, good thing that our teacher isn't in our home scrapbooking rooms, because we can wear gloves in our home scrapbooking rooms.
That's the truth. Dawn, we do have a couple things to show.
Okay.
Just a couple little things that came in. And, all right, one thing that I'm pretty excited about, because I saw Tim show this, is this butterfly die called Perspective Butterfly. And let me flip it over. The package is big for a reason. It's a huge
Oh my
die.
gosh, it's ginormous.
It's really amazing. And
wow.
when he was talking about it, you can use part of it. You don't have to use the whole piece.
Oh, Maggie,
Or you
I
might
can
wanna-
see Maggie cutting that in half and
That
having
is
that
beautiful.
on
Or you-
the side of a canvas.
Or you can do something big.
oh yeah.
Do something big with it. And it's $24.99. So that is here from Sizzix and Tim Holtz.
That's a great
Got lots of detail.
size for a scrapbook page.
Yeah, yes.
I love it.
I'm glad you mentioned that. And speaking of Tim Holtz, we also got back in his what do we call these? Storage sheets. His stamp storage sheets are back in stock, and they're $5.99, and I believe you get 8. So you
I
get
was
8.
helping a customer yesterday, and I was so surprised it has 8.
That's a lot. That's not
pages
even
in it.
$1 each.
Right. I thought that was
So
a good
I'm
deal.
getting some. Okay, and then we also got in his binder. We had sold out of these, but his stamp storage binder is back in stock. And you can see from the picture here, those little storage sheets that we just showed you fit right in there. And so do the stamps. His stamps are on pieces that have the holes punched.
And what
pieces
I like
of
about
acrylic.
this is it does zip up, so if you're
Yeah.
one of those that travels with your stamps and dies,
They're not
you
going to
won't
fall
lose anything.
out. Okay, and then speaking of storage and stamps and dies, the Avery L extra large and large stamp bags are back in stock, and these are for stamps, but really for anything.
Thank you.
I was thinking
worried about this
ephemera
getting hard.
might be good to store in one of
You
these.
did a
Just
great job.
sort it out, especially that new stuff from 49 and Market. I would like to sort mine that way. And then the other thing I'm pretty excited about, Dawn and I oh wait, let's go here. I'm sorry for jumping around, but I wanted to show these bags.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about these.
Hey, Maggie's using one right now.
I am.
But we have the 2 zipper bags, the small, and I don't know what the other size is. And they don't have prices on them, so I apologize for that. They're from Avery L.
Well, they just came. She just finished checking them in this morning.
They're not
Probably
even,
right
they haven't
before
even
the
gone
video.
out. She did give them to us right away. We're switching microphones here. We're switching microphones. It's hard to hold a microphone and hold cool product at the same time. So, or clip on your microphone. I hope you're not getting that, Dawn.
Nope.
Okay. So anyhow, these are so cool to put projects in, markers, tools, all your supplies, and it keeps them nice. Teresa comes on Mondays
Well,
with
Maggie,
these.
show us
You want us to
yours.
show us yours, Maggie? How-
Maggie walked in with this today, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want that. And then here Diane's unpacking them.
Sometimes
I think
it's
you need
hard
another-
when you're doing a little project to have just one pouch that you put everything in. I kind of overdid it.
Yeah,
But
it's a little full.
But I
It's-
like that it's clear.
yes, and I can see what's in there. But this is a future project.
Oh,
See those
we
fun
can't
things?
wait.
Get ready.
Can you see those?
Those colors are good.
Oh, there's your sneak peek.
Maggie's got a couple things. She's got several things lined
She
up for
does.
us, so
She's
I love that.
busy, busy,
we
busy.
love it. Okay, and then also from Avery L, check out these stamps, Dawn. They're everyday circle tags, and they've got really wonderful sayings, and you've got the circle stamp that they fit right inside of.
I was going to say, isn't there a tag?
There is. I wanted to
there we
surprise
go.
everybody. This is called the Holiday Circle Tags die, which it doesn't have to be holiday. I'm not sure why it came out in the holidays, but I guess these
yeah.
all are kind of holiday-ish.
Well,
or
happy birthday, get well, thank you, handmade with love, best wishes, oh
not
baby.
really, not really
Cheers,
holiday.
hooray.
I'm only looking at the back, so I don't know what they say. But these
I
are
think they're really
adorable.
fun to put these on that and then put it on the front of your card and you're done.
Or a gift.
I might have to do
We
that.
showed, they made a bunch of tags for gifts, and they were really cute. If you're going to a shower. Okay, that's it.
Okay, the sides, yes, these are these are plastic, but they're kind of like reinforced.
Yeah, they're called mesh bags.
So they
And the zippers are nice, and the color. This is their best-selling color.
so they are solid, but they're meshy too. I don't know how to describe it, but they
Remind me
Here.
of those pencil bags that you used to be able to put in your folders in high school.
Oh, sure.
Where they had holes. That's what it
Yeah, a
reminds
little
me
pencil
of.
bag.
Okay.
And look at Dawn. You could get
Oh,
this for
there
a little
you
gift.
go.
Put
Love
it in
it.
a little bag, and it'd be set. Dawn, I wouldn't mind one of those.
Kelly, consider it done.
Okay.
Consider it your
All right.
Valentine's gift.
All right. Well, before we go, I want to just remind everybody that Groundhog Day
Oh,
kicked
yes.
off our winter special with 30% off of our winter categories or winter category. It's online if you go to shopping and themes and winter, and everything on there should be marked down 30%. So
And can we just walk over? I know you asked me earlier, but can we walk over and show them the end cap that we're building
Yeah,
right now?
yeah.
We're in the process of getting this all put out.
oh, we got a pile on the floor.
And sorry, it is a mess, but you guys, it's just so pretty.
It's not really a mess. It's only half done.
Yeah, well, we're in the process, but look at all
Look
of this.
Can I be Vanna, Dawn?
be
Look at the
Vanna.
colors of the washi tape and the brads. These are the 8mm brads, and we have a few smaller ones too.
And
But we
then-
have some of them are foil and some are not foil. And
But look at this. Look at these yummy colors. Just get a couple different colors and then do the couple different, use the two sizes and run them across your card fronts, put a message on it, and you're done.
Gloria was very excited because there are two sizes.
Right.
So
I
she
like
thought that was really, really cool.
Okay, and Jane would like us to show the winter section. Let's go
Oh,
do
we
that.
can do that.
And Dawn has a question: translucent versus transparent or opaque. Are you? I
matte
think she's talking about the texture paste.
Well,
So
I
we'll
believe
go
we have
over
a
there.
sample of that Chris made. Let's go to winter first.
Okay, we're going to go to winter because.
Oh, no, we can go here now. It was filled up a minute ago. This is her sample. Let's see, she's got transparent, gloss, and opaque. So this would be her opaque. And then this side here, can you see it? The glossy.
So that's the transparent, or that's a glossy.
That's a transparent gloss. It's called transparent gloss.
Okay.
So there's transparent gloss,
All right.
and there's the matte, transparent matte, and then the opaque matte.
Okay, Maggie uses the opaque matte texture paste, and then she used the crackle. And there's the multimedia matte.
Where's the crackle at?
The crackle is right here. The texture paste crackle. Now the matte, texture paste matte is going to be transparent, but no gloss, no shine.
We don't really have a good sample of that.
The transparent gloss is going to be transparent, but have a shine.
Yeah.
And then there's matte. So I hope that answers that question, Dawn. Okay, and we're going to go over and we're going to take a look at winter.
We've got it in a couple places, and it's been selling. A lot of people must be kind of in the winter mode because of look outside. But we have a lot here from Winter Farmhouse from Simple Stories. We've got a lot of their papers, the tapes, the chipboard stickers, the tablet, and their sticker books.
Hi, Kimbo. There's my good friend Kimbo's
Yay.
watching.
Hi, Kim. And I think we showed these yesterday. These are nice stickers. These are those metallic ones from Elizabeth Craft. And then this is just a fun little thing to put on. I think you could have that on the layout and have them all sprinkled on top.
Dawn wasn't talking about the texture paste. She was talking about the bags.
Oh,
Yes, they're translucent.
okay.
That's funny.
Something like that. Well, we just did an extra thing, Dawn, that we
Right.
weren't planning on. Look at this little die, this cottage cut snowman and his little owl friend.
So everything that we're showing you now is 30% off due to Groundhog Day. It's the Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow. So we have 6 more weeks of winter. So we wanted you to have all the winter supplies you need for your scrapbook pages, your layouts, your paper crafting, and card making.
And Dawn, Winter Market, one of our best sellers this past winter. Can I say
Yes.
past winter yet? This winter.
This
Anyhow,
winter, we're still in it.
We have some of that also, as we still have. So that would be a good thing to pick
And there
up.
is ephemera packages, some enamel dots, and stamps and dies. So very good.
Yeah.
All right.
Out with winter,
Yes.
in with Valentine's Day.
Well, we hope to be back tomorrow if we're not in the middle of
Speaking
a
of
blizzard.
winter,
I'm on the docket for tomorrow, and
Yeah.
I am going to show a 49 in Market
that says it all right there, Dawn.
accordion. What would you call that? An accordion?
It's kind of a display stand. I mean, it's kind of a display.
Yeah.
It's
So-
really, really pretty.
So
You're
that
going to
is
love it.
tomorrow. And I'm actually going to take the product home tonight in case I have to film from my kitchen counter tomorrow.
Yeah, you might be at home filming. And the cool thing about that, Dawn, I just want to tell everybody is we have a kit, which is the base with all the pieces you need, and then you just add your own paper and pictures and decorate it any way you want. So I think that's really cool about that.
So we'll be going over all of that tomorrow.
Yippee!
And then Friday, Janet is back with her Heritage
Heritage
series.
again. Yep.
All
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Stay safe, everybody.
Have a good day.
See you tomorrow.